Yes, please.
All right. Okay. Thank you all participants for coming and taking time out to discuss such an important phase of our lives or others' lives that we have all undergoing anyway. So the first thing that we would like to do is to kind of understand what parenting is. Can we have the next slide, please? What parenting is before we go on to answer the question, is there perfect parenting? I wonder if there are parents sitting here or people who are not yet parents, whoever they are. Is anybody, please feel free to interrupt. I'm happy to have your questions in between or your discussions or anything that you might want to say or your comments, please. So let's start with the slides with today's objectives. If you can give me the first page, please. The slide, please. Mahin. Can I have the next slide? Yeah. So today's objective is basically about we would like to explore, is there perfect parenting? Because there are many questions that are coming in, and there are people who look at parenting from different aspects. And some people kind of look at parenting as just one-to-one one-to-one interaction, the child and the mother, or the child and the father, or the child and the grandparent, and the child and the uncle, or whatever. Whereas parenting is much more than just an interaction between one-to-one. It is kind of a relationship building. So when we want to explore perfect parenting, we need to first understand what parenting is, who is the parent, and we also would like to know whether is there any specific essentials or specific requirements for parents or for parenting. What is parenting responsibility, and does it ever stop? When does parenting stop? And how best can parents carry out their parenting responsibility? When we explore all this during our discussion talk today, we will then come to the answer of, is there a perfect parenting? So let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So what is parenting? So parenting basically means nurturing. We have discussed this earlier, that parenting means nurturing or child rearing, which is definitely not just meeting some of their physical needs, but nurturing includes physical, emotional, social, intellectual, and developmental needs. Okay, now when we talk about physical needs, what are we talking about? We are talking about roti kapra makan. Okay, we need food, we need, sorry, is somebody saying something? Go ahead, please. All right. So when we talk about physical needs, we're talking about their roti kapra makan, meaning food, meaning the daily needs of bathing and care, sleeping, that are your physical needs. When we talk about emotional needs, this is such a hidden thing. Is how is the child and parent interacting with each other? How is the child feeling? Because there is a large need of emotional fulfillment. So just by saying the regular love you and then not show love is another unfulfilled need of emotions. So emotions, I'm sorry, it's not clear if somebody is commenting. Can you put it on the chat and Mahin pick it up from there, and I will respond to those comments later, or if there is something important I need to answer. So emotional would be when and how the child is feeling, as well as how the parent is feeling. It is because parenting does not mean that you are doing something to the child. Child is not an object. Child is actually as human as the parent. So there are human needs that have to be fulfilled. The need for care, the need for feeling emotionally fulfilled, the need for feeling safe, the need for feeling secure, that is in that relationship. The need that mother will not run away or go away, or the father will not get angry and disappear in life or something like that. So there is an emotional need. There also are social needs. Social needs with the need to be able to interact, to be confident enough to go out to school, to meet cousins, to play outside. These are the social needs, and to feel safe socially, and to also be able to retain the friendships that the child is making. Intellectual needs, there is always a need to learn. The child wants to learn. The child has got an inborn desire to learn. The child wants to learn to eat, to self-care, to tie his shoes, to basically to be able to handle himself or herself. So there are intellectual needs in which the child asks a lot of questions, tries to be involved in other learning activities like the TV or the games or whatever, or wherever there is discussion going on. We see the child come in, butt in, and ask questions. There is an inborn need for intellectual development. And then are the development needs. Now, when we talk about the development needs, we are talking about the milestones. At what age does the child begin to sit, to walk, to talk, and to play, and to to socialize and all that? So there are some already laid down milestones in which we are able to measure that the child is progressing healthy. So when we talk about nurturing, the mother and the father and whoever others are there who are parenting need to be able to understand all these needs. If you look at the theories, we have this 5 interactive components of nurturing care here. And that is also basically the same thing, but I do not agree fully with this because it kind of feels incomplete to me. And therefore, I have put it up for you. And I've also put up the reference for you, so you could go and check it more. But I think that something that we have also listed out here is just more than these 5 interactive components of care. So moving on, is there a partnership in parenting? Is there only a partnership between husband and wife, mother and father, or is there more partnership? Can I have next? What does people think? I am not sure. Usually parenting is seen as a partnership between a husband and wife, father and mother. But basically parenting is a partnership between the child and the parent, as well as the parent and the others around, whoever is taking care of the nurturing of that child or children. Now, who is a parent? Let us look at the legal definitions. The parent is somebody, the mother is somebody who gives birth to the child, and the other person who is married to the mother is known as the father, and they are legally the parent of the child. So if you look at the legal definition, the parents are legally responsible. They are responsible to nurture the child and provide to the child's growth. It is their responsibility. Now, when does this parenthood begin? It begins when the child is conceived, or maybe even earlier, when the couple begins to think of a child or to think of having a child. That's when they are able to begin their parenthood. They start gauging their readiness for a child. And that is when parenthood actually begins. Are you ready to take a responsibility? Because the child or the children who are in your life are not just objects, but they are human beings, and they need specific care. And then you have to be responsible. You cannot just tie them in a room or leave them in a room and go off and say, oh, I forgot to give them lunch, or I forgot to bath them, or I forgot that the person also needs to be talking to. So these are some of the things. Now, why is there a need for a parent? If usually I hear so many people say, "Bacha to bada ho hi jata hai." Have I lost the slide? Mahin? Should I share it? Can you come and check what's happening?
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Yeah, Sidra, what's happened to the slides?
I guess मैम माहिन जो हैं वो डिस्कनेक्ट हो चुकी हैं. माहिन सॉरी मैम माहिन डिस्कनेक्ट हो चुकी हैं. उनका इंटरनेट इशू है शायद कुछ.
Okay, so should I put on my screen share then?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay. I think she's back now. But anyway, let me do it then. No, let's go back. Yeah, so we're here now. I'm going to be hosting it. So let's begin to what we were saying is, why do we even require the parents? Usually I've heard many people say that बच्चा तो बड़ा हो ही जाता है, इसमें क्या है, इसमें कौन सी बड़ी इतनी साइंस है. तो एक्चुअली वो बड़ा ऐसे ही नहीं हो जाता. फिजिकली तो ग्रोथ नजर आएगी, we will be able to see physical growth, but usually why is there a system of parenting is because the child who is born is not capable of self-care. See, the child's organs and systems of the body are not yet developed. The half or a bit of them were developed inside the womb, but outside when the baby comes out, it is still not fully developed and does not have the ability to care for self. And that is why it is so important to have parents who will be able to nurture and help develop the fullest capacity of the child or of the children, whoever they are. It could be twins, it could be triplets, or it could be just one baby. But this is all very important, that the baby is received by the nurturers. And therefore, the philosophy that they will just grow is not possible. They may be able to grow physically, but their organs and the emotional needs, social needs remain defected then, and that is when we see problems in the personalities of the people around us. Therefore, when we talk about parenting, we are talking about that parents are basically responsible to ensure that the child or children are growing up as fully independent human beings. Okay, so this is basically the responsibility of the parents to ensure that the children grow as independent, fully functioning, independent human beings. So one thing here that I'm trying to emphasize is that the parents are not owners of these individual beings. These individuals have a right to their own life. So what we are saying is that parents have the responsibility to help those individuals to become and to help grow and become fully independent. And that's when then the parents take a back shift and the individuals begin to live their own life. If you look at it legally, the parents have the duty to protect their children's rights until they are old enough to make their own way in the world, which means at times parents are making decisions for the children. It is only till the children or the child himself or herself is unable to make their own decisions, and that is how the parents are taking full responsibility of making decisions for them, for the welfare of the children. But once the child is of age, which means once you get an identity card or at the age of 18, whatever age is prescribed by the country as adulthood, that's when the parent takes a back seat and lets the child lead his or her own life. Now, how can the parents actually carry out this parental responsibility? Because this is becoming quite an issue that parents are wondering if there is a science to it. Definitely, there is a science and an art, and there is a knowledge to it. One of the things that you can do is to build mutual relationship. There has to be emotional investment in this relationship. You cannot just make believe or think that बस मैं क्योंकि माँ हूँ और मैं क्योंकि बाप हूँ और मैं क्योंकि grandparents हूँ, so the children are going to automatically feel love and feel connection with me. It is not possible. The relationship has to be built and has to be nurtured. There has to be emotional investment, even if the relationship as the child grows comes to become a little bit of fights and a little bit of conflict, a little bit of misunderstanding, yet there is a relationship. The relationship need not break, and there needs to be a constant communication and constant assessment of each other's needs. Now, who is the each other? The parent and the children. If you have one child, you have a different kind of a need. If you have several children, you have different kind of need. You have a relationship between husband and wife, you have a relationship within the family, and you have to role play the relationship that the child has to play within the family. So this is so important that you build a mutual relationship. You are not just a boss or just a provider to the child, but there is friendship, there is love, there is emotions between that relationship, that whatever expression that relationship can take. We, the parents, need to realize and acknowledge that you are building a person. Each child is unique. There may be 4 children or 2 children or cousins, and we hear a lot of parents comparing or trying to duplicate the personalities or behaviors of children, that they can, your brother does this or your sister behaves like this, whereas you are not doing as your brother or sister, or your sibling, your other cousins are, carry out their responsibilities in a certain manner or discuss their relationship with their parents, but this child is rather quiet or shy or whatever. So parents need to realize that each person is unique, and there can be no duplication or comparing of siblings, or what different parents do, or why is that parent doing, is having breakfast in the morning with the child daily, and that is why the child is able to acquire good health. It's just perceptions. You need to have a proper plan, and you cannot just make decisions on lay or just evidences which are not verified. One needs to spend time with child in doing things which is mutually enjoyed. I have seen that, we have to play with the child, so you will force yourself to play what the child is playing. I don't think that's a great idea, because then the parent gets quite unsatisfied and unhappy and needs to kind of just play and is not enjoying it, and so is just pretending to enjoy it, and the child senses, just like you sense the child's mood, in the same way the child senses the parent's mood. So please try to look for something that's mutually enjoyable. It could be reading, it could be playing, it could be talking, it could be coloring. There are some DIY things that people are doing a lot these days: cooking, car cleaning, TV documentary, songs, whatever. There's certainly something where the child is more prone to or more inclined towards. And you will see that when the parents, and remember, you are not alone as a parent, you have a partner in nurturing. It could be your husband, it could be grandparents, it could be whoever. So that partner can also play within this involvement of spending time with the child. One also needs to give responsibility. You can't just keep doing things for the child. In the first year, all right, till the child has not learned to, kind of sit up and kind of eat for themselves, or do their self-care, you may support. But it is the sooner the better to give responsibilities, tasks, and self-learning activities like washing, whatever work that you are doing, try to involve the child or children in that task. Because if you say that you will not be able to do it, this is not for you, then the child is kind of going to develop a distance as to what are the things that I am able to do and not. For example, definitely they cannot do weightlifting with you, they cannot do gym with you, but they can play during that time with you, watch you, and role play you. So do not disconnect with them, let them be part of you, and be aware of the developmental needs. I told you developmental needs are something that science has told us. Development needs are the milestones that the child will undergo till he or she becomes an adult. Now, if you look at it, your parenting responsibility does not finish, but it changes over time. The role changes over time, your responsibility changes. If you look at the initial first year or pre-birth year, you are to be a learner yourself, and do not be afraid to read or to ask about what birthing is going to be like, what child rearing is going to be like, what are the experiences of others. And then I have also had questions where parents or the generation here present is asking that my parents did this to me, I do not want to do that. But then if you do not agree with that, you need to have a rationale of why you do not agree, what harm and uh, what should we say, what harm did it cause you, or was there all harm and no advantage. So anything that the parents do has been something positive, that you are able to make a decision of what is not right for your child. So definitely you have built the intellect to observe and to make a decision of what is not good for you to carry forward. So the first year is to prepare for the first time of your 9 months of pregnancy, or even before the pregnancy, before you conceive. The family is a learner and is learning to become a parent. Once the baby is come into your life is the infancy stage. When we talk about the infancy stage, we are now the protector. The parents become the protector. They have to protect the child from harm and have to ensure that there is no allergies around, there are no accidents happening. There are many parents who give the responsibility to another child, and that could be harmful, where the child drops the baby, or may just give a harmful toy to play with, whatever. You need to ensure as a protective that a safe environment is provided to the child or to the infant. Also that you are able to provide the infant the ability to develop as the milestones require it to develop. And then comes the time of toddler and preschool. This is when the whole issue of parenting really starts. When the child is now is looking at understanding things around, is looking at what should be adopted, is looking at a lot of behaviors that are happening around, and the child will begin to pick up every behavior that is happening. If there's somebody screaming and shouting and playing, the child will do the same. If somebody is showing compassion and love, the child will do the same. If somebody is eating at a certain time, the child will do the same. So at the toddler or preschool time, you or the parents become the boss. They guide, they set rules, and rules are so extremely important. There need to be rules for the child. You do not need to just say abhi washroom jana hai, abhi nahi. That is what the human will define for himself, but there are some rules in the family. Who do you say salam? When do you pray? Do you wash hands? When is lunch time? When is dinner time? When is sleep time? When do we have play time? And all kinds of things. This is an authority stage where the parents have to, for that period of time, become the boss for the child, and the child has been heard saying that, oh, you are the boss. So yes, you have to accept that. However, abuse is not accepted, and there needs to be how far can this authority go. So the authority goes up to the level of safety. Once your authority, once you start banging and beating and abusing the child, you're probably not the boss anymore. You have turned into a abuser. So you need to understand that. Then comes the child, when he or she is beginning to socialize, is beginning to look at the school, is beginning to look at books, is beginning to go to school, and is beginning to socialize, make friends. And here you turn into a guide. The parents become a guide, and they help the child to interpret the experiences. You hear the child come home and is crying from school. Oh, but the child took away my chair. I was sitting in that chair. The other student did not give me the pencil. I wanted the pen. These are things that need to be interpreted. What is that experience telling the child? Is it telling about sharing? What are the responsibilities that the child is learning? What are the social interactive behaviors that the child is learning from here? And you need to allow the child to kind of express. Don't cry in front of anybody. Let them cry, let them laugh, let them fight, let them just not break each other's head, but let them know that you are helping them to interpret what is happening in their life, and also that there are more additional people in their lives now, and which is the teacher, which is the other staff in the school, or the relatives of the children that they are mingling with. So now you have become, the parents have become a guide. Definitely here the role of the parent is no more authoritative, but it is more interpreted, more to have the child to interpret what his experiences are, and to learn and define between good and bad. And then as the child enters adolescence, your parent's role changes again, and the parent becomes a coach. The parent is now no longer able to or should be telling the child what to do, but be helping the child to make good decisions. Must be allowing the child to examine why the child is making the decision. This is when probably you are entering the metric or the O-level phase, or you want to decide on a career, you want to decide on where you want to study, which subject you want to study. This is where many people or many parents think, if you ask them, what is the purpose of your parenting? They will tell you, I want my child to become a doctor. How can you decide? You may have a wish that it would be good if the child becomes a doctor, but by this time you would have learned through the child's interaction that the child is more interested in art, or the child is more interested in engineering and does not want to be a doctor. He likes to build bridges and things like that. So this is where you are going to do some research for the child's decision, and inform the child on it. These days, parents do not do any research. They just allow the child, Google mein aap search kar lo, you go and search. The child's intellect is limited to just himself or herself. There needs a broader vision of what after me, how will that benefit me, my family, my social society, and my nation overall and overall. And definitely that is how the parents will guide the child to make a decision. It could be a career decision, it could be friendship decision, it could be about going and living in a hostel or going to live away from the parents, whatever that. This is a interdependent stage in which the parent and the child are both interactive with each other very strongly on evidences and on important aspects of the child's life. And then comes the departure stage, and this is where people in the Asian culture do not want to let go. Here is a child who is now an adult, who is wanting to now live their own life, but there is here an emotional blackmail that goes on. Your parents have done so much for you, how will you leave them and go away? Why do you want to even go and live alone? Why do you want to not fulfill the desires of the parents? The parents are going to be unhappy with you, you are going to make them sad, they are getting older, so you have a responsibility to take care of them. We need to very clearly understand that as parents, you are not to as parents, you are responsible to help them grow, but they are not to pay back. The moment that they grow up, they should be able to fly off, but the relationship is strong enough. The relationship and the parenting never ends. However, the distancing begins to happen, and this is where the parents go wrong and say, mera kaun khayal karega? But then the thing is that it's wise to plan for your aging needs as well. You cannot say, I'm investing on the child and the child will invest back to me. It is not a business deal. It is a responsibility that has come from Allah. God has given you a responsibility to cater to this child and to make it a good human being. It is not something that you are doing and that's something you demand in response. Yes, morally they should be happy and they should be obliged to help out in your older age. But I think parents make a mistake when they forget to plan for themselves and they say we are doing everything for the child, not knowing that you are to invest in the child wisely, and along with the investment in the child, you are to invest in your own health and in your own planning of aging and retirement. So this is the stages that one needs to be aware of. There are don'ts. Please do not involve children in family conflicts, relationships. Parents have their own conflicts, have their own relationships, and parents tend to talk in front of the children. Child's mind and emotions are still very underdeveloped and they are still just learning. So when you bring conflicts into their lives, they are unable to understand what is normal and what is not normal. So when there are conflicts, they will perceive conflicts as being normal, and that is where the child may have difficulty in future making relationships, keeping relationships, or conceiving conflict as something that has to be resolved. They would think that it's normal to have conflicts and conflicts should be there. Parents should please not influence the person, the child, the children with portrayals of self-help. You know, dekho how much I do for you. Your father doesn't do that much. Your grandmother doesn't do that much. I do all this. Or the spousal relationships or the spousal beliefs. When the parents are married, they come from two different cultures or different homes at least, and there are difference in their opinions, in their way of nurturing, and there needs to be a common element. But parents should not be portraying or blaming or running an SOP. A father should be like that, a mother should be like that, a grandparent should be like that, a aunt should be like that, and those SOPs are laid out, and if they do not follow those SOPs, they begin to create questions within the children's minds. So it is best not to influence or give a portrayal. You don't portray a character, you just children learn to adjust to whatever is there. No two people are same. And therefore, if you try to say this is how parents should be, it's just so false. You cannot just have every parent doing every right thing and there be no wrongs. Parents are also learning human beings, and children, you can do the best you can do from what your learning is, and you can undo the harm that you have had in your life and give them positivity. The most important thing is to give positivity within the family and the friends and the surrounding. Do not choose friends and relations for them. Do not tell them whom to talk to, whom not to talk to, which friend is good to go out with, whose house you can go to, whose you cannot. And do not, please discuss money, business deals, how you lied, how you gained the profit, or how you made the deal. This has nothing to do with the children. The children need them and their development milestones to be attended to. And if you have seen a lot that in family gatherings, the children are made to sit within the political discussions, within the family discussions, and the children are interrupting and are carrying off that discussion to schools. And they are also, oh, look, my mother only wears branded clothes. Oh, my father, he makes such big, he changes the car every second week. These are not development goals. These are conflict development within the personality. They are not forming a person. You are giving them conflicts and ideas even before the person is built. So this is a issue. Now, how can you do such a difficult task alone? You cannot do it alone, and you are not alone. See, if you are a single parent, you are still not alone. If you have a stepfather or you are remarried, you're still not alone. You have adopted children, you still are not alone. As I discussed in my earlier slides, that you need to have a partner. It could be one partner, two partner, or three partners. It is you how much you need. So do not be afraid to learn, because wisdom and skills are collectively accumulated. Not everybody is automatically going to be the great parent. These are skills and wisdom that are built through generations. And when the older generation transmit their wisdom and skills to you, there are something like you have to look at what is working in the new age, what is not working in the new age, and what would be good to carry forward, and not just apply it just because it's been told and it's been the family tradition. So select your partners in nurture. Look at who understands your philosophy of care, and share your parental responsibilities. This could be anyone. This could be maybe professional help. It could be a casual extended family, or it could be relatives, or it could be a help which is casual help like the maid that you might have at home. So what is the target for the parent? What is the parental target? As I have already discussed, it is to to build an individual. You are not making careers, you are not making professionals, you are supposed to, as parents, build independent individuals, good citizens, good people who have moral values, who have religion, who have ethical standards by which they will live their lives. You should be proud if your child is living his or her own life with a very positive attitude, with some ethical standards, with moral values, with religion in their lives. They will pave their own path. And when children at times want to go away and say, please, we want to go and live our lives, they are not rebelling. They are just doing what they're meant to do. One day they need to fly off, and that is your responsibility to let them be individuals, independent, and let them go. Be there in their lives, but do not be there as, as a responsibility, because the responsibility was yours. It isn't theirs. Your responsibility. Allah gave you the responsibility to bring up this individual. And if you capture that individual, you don't give it freedom, then you are probably not doing your responsibility right. So you are building a person. You must remember, you are building a person who may or may not require the life skills that you used in your lifetime. Many times parents say, Hamare time mein, in our times we used to do like this, so you also do it like that. You carry forward your problems, but you do not understand that you are 20 years back. You are from the old times. However young a parent, you are still 20 years past life. You are much older than this new person that is in your life, and this new life is living a totally new a new generation. It has got a new universe, it has got a new technology, it has got new knowledge, and knowledge is so progressive. So you cannot build another duplicate of yourself. You must not tell the child to duplicate what you have done, or these are the rituals, this is how it happens in our family. Allow the child to build, to be progressive, to be proactive, to be willing to learn, to accommodate problems, and to be able to be a problem solver, and to be a leader of his or own life. So what I'm trying to say in the end is that the parent are responsible to bring up an independent human being who is a good citizen, a good moral, ethical person, and is able to give back not only to the parents as means of care or moral obligation, but also to the society and to the life that he or she is making himself. So comes the question, is there perfect parenting? No. No human being except Allah is perfect. Nothing is perfect. No human being or institution is perfect. So only Allah is perfect. So there is, perfect itself is a flawed word, and it is developed by humans. Perfect is only perfection in the making of, in the universe, or in making of Allah. But there is nothing like perfect parenting. However, there is purposeful. What is the purpose of your parenting? And that is what is most important, is what is this child, that's the responsibility given to you from Allah, from God. How are you going to make it fruitful for the child and not for yourself? When does parenting stop? Never. It never stops. Legally, you are not responsible for the child once the legal age is attained. But of course, as parents, we know, and you will know, that there is never a stop to parenting. You are always there as a support, but you also, as parents, must learn to live your own lives and not become dependent on other individuals who were never meant to live your life. Your responsibility was to make them live their lives and not to become your care providers. That is not why they are here. That's just one part of what they are here, and that's just their moral obligation. Every individual has a responsibility to their own lives. One has to live, plan, and prepare for their life stages. One cannot say, I am developing a care provider. I am sorry, that's not how it happens. So children may legally be considered adults at any age, but as you see, they are always look back to parents. There is always a relationship that has been built, and they continue to play a positive part in the children's lives. So this is what my message was for today. And I have some case studies or questions that have come forth to me. Do you want me to look at these questions and give you my answers, or there are questions here? How do you want me to do it? Do you want me to answer these chat questions first? Can you help me with it? People, yes, how do you want me to do
questions? We have tons of questions. Please check on them. Chat box, please.
Yeah, chat box, maybe have some questions here. Now, here is a question which says, how important is religion in parenting? Religion is a guiding factor. See, there can be no parenting without religion. How can there be morality? How can there be ethics without religion? Religion teaches you the difference between good and bad, isn't it? So religion is not just a practice of rituals. It is the development of a person, and it weighs for you good and bad. So religion is the ultimate essence of parenting. Every parenting is responsible to ensure that there is recognition of God in the lives of children, and that they themselves are practicing whatever religion they are practicing, and that they are able to differentiate between good and bad. Should parents be more like mentors or more authoritarian? Now, we talked about the styles of parenting. Okay, and as we also looked at, I hope you did realize did understand the slide that I talked on the different stages. So parents are not mentors throughout. When a baby is crying, you cannot begin to mentor it. Don't cry like this, cry softly. No, the mentoring starts at a very adulthood when you become a coach. Okay, and there is a time of authority, which is when the parents are a boss, and that is your preschooling time, when they have to learn to abide by principles. They have to learn discipline. They have to learn the culture and the social practice of where they are living. Okay, now if a child says, okay, the parent is, for example, is smoking, and the child is going to play act, because the children are the best actors, the best imitators. They imitate everything that the parents do. So if that child is going to do that, there are two things that will happen. One is the parent has to change the behavior, and number to show authority on the badness, or if a child has stolen something, this is where authority is desired. So there are 4 styles of parenting, as we have discussed earlier, and not in this session, but before that. There is permissive, when you allow the child to do everything. There is authoritarian, in which you are just the boss all the time, and there is authoritative as well, in which you set rules, but you allow the child within the rules to be themselves. So there are times that you have to change. Your parenting skill cannot be just the same. It cannot be just one. It has to change with time and with the growth of children. What has made the older generation so obedient to their parents? What is lacking in the current generation or parents of this generation? Okay, earlier, what happened is that we did not have knowledge in the hands of children. We also did not have uh, the working parents. Okay, we did not have people, parents were fully dedicated. There was a father and a mother and a set status, an extended family. Everybody in that house had their own role to play. As you go towards nuclear families, unit families, and as the demand for more money, for more education, for more investment outside of home is happening, the children are trying to make their own way. Now, that does not mean that they are not obedient. What does obedient mean? To carry forward anything and everything that the parents are saying? What today's generation is trying to do is they are not trying to rebel. They are not trying to be disobedient. They are just trying to portray or to speak their word because they have information. They are talking to each other. They are learning from different areas. So you need to build a relationship, and obedience is also very family defined. What is obedient? I have seen many speakers, motivational speakers, who talk on parenting, and all they do is, with my respect to them, but there is always emotional blackmail. Oh, your parents did so much for you, how can you not believe them? How can you not do what they like? Oh, if I am a parent and I want my daughter or my son to be an engineer or a teacher, or let's say a dancer, but the child does not want to, is that disobedience? So this generation has the intellectual need and the growth, and they are being filled with various options. So they are not disobedient. They're just trying to raise their voices, and the parents are not ready to create that partnership. This parenting of today requires partnership. You are again not developing a duplicate of you, nor do you want obedient, subservient children. You want far-sighted, independent individuals who know their good and bad. So I don't think that they are being disobedient. They are just trying to tell you, and you need to listen. Will a person who did not have happy childhood, did not have the right to decide for herself or himself, and who was abused physically by her or his parents, be a good parent? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. A person, are you trying to tell me that just because you had a heart attack, you are not going to ever be able to love again? It is not possible. Our God and Allah has put into us such a wonderful ability to heal. Every person heals. Those experiences are there to learn. So you have learned rather tough, but you have learned. And therefore, from those learnings, you try, if you are still a positive and a happy individual, you will be able to parent happily, and you will not allow the abuse to happen. Especially here, you have said it's physical abuse. Physical abuse does not hurt the body, it hurts the mind and the heart. So it is best to cater to the mind and the heart, and not even go to physical abuse, because that is not called for. And I absolutely believe very strongly that love helps to heal. And if you have been hurt, there is a power to heal, and you will be able to love again. And your parent, and that is why maybe Allah has given you the responsibility of rearing an individual. If you were not a good enough human being, then God knows best and would not give you children to rear. The responsibility is given by God, and therefore everybody has a responsibility. I'm not saying that people who don't have children, God doesn't want them to have. It is just that they probably have to look around. They have a larger responsibility. Those who don't have children, they have a larger responsibility to adopting or to look at other children and create that love for parenthood. So please do not misunderstand me. Parents are responsible to love the child and that they gave birth to, but sometimes both parents or one of them ignore their child and the most and expect the child to always respect and love their parents. Absolutely, I agree with you. Koi bhi relation, any relationship means needs give and take. If you bring a plant at home and if you don't water it and if you don't cater to it, it will die. In the same way, if you don't build a relationship and you don't cater to the child, then definitely the child is going to become a human being that you did not nurture. So will be a human being who does not, because as I told you earlier, the children are imitators. You have to play the role of what you want the child to be. You have to be what you want the child to be. Okay, so if I want my child to be responsible and loving and respectful, then I have to show that within the family, and I have to show that respect and love to the child, and not only to the child but also to my in-laws and to my mother and to my father and to my husband and to my other children as well. I cannot be pretend, I cannot be a hooligan and I cannot be a bully in the house and expect that children will respect me, because the children do not listen. You may have heard many times people say, but they don't listen, but they definitely copy. So they are observing you. You want them to respect you, show them respect and they will respect you. Respect is built. Respect is not just gained by force. Why sometimes the parents think the decisions they take for their children are the best, while that decision puts their children in difficult situations like depression and anxiety. Absolutely, I agree with you. Parents do not understand that they are responsible to make you what you want to be. They are not supposed to make you what they want them to be. You understand? So parents have got a wrong philosophy or a wrong understanding that we have to make them what we want them to be. As soon as the child is born, what will you make the child? Oh, I will make the child to be a teacher, to be a scientist, to be a NASA, whatever. I don't know what they tell. So you cannot decide. The right answer for the parents is that I want my child to be a good person, to be a good human being, to be able to do good, to be able to cater and bring advantage to the family, to bring love to the family. So I absolutely agree that there are parents who are misled and who do not understand that parenting is a responsibility for developing individual human beings and not something that they want to. It's not a machine that they are going to build, it's a human being. So I absolutely agree, and that is why this parenting workshops and this parenting discussion is going on. It would be great if we can have the older community come in and attend our parenting sessions as well. It could help discuss their point of view as well. We all have busy lives, but as a father, I make sure if I am present with them, even for an hour, it should be qualitative time. Make sure you are emotionally connected with them, not just for the sake of your presence, brother. Absolutely agreed. Make quality time, give them love, give them compassion. You don't have to say bye-bye, love you, and not be seen for 2 days. That's not how it's done. I appreciate what you have said is that it is important that you are part of their life. Make them feel your presence, and your presence should be a joy. It should not be something that they should dread. So I absolutely agree. I can share my part of parenthood on my day off, and rest of the week when I'm home, they are sleeping and it's difficult for me to give more time during the week. My wife does complain about this, how to manage this, in which partner has less complaint. Okay, this is great. Now, if you are home on Sundays and the children are sleeping, what is the responsibility that they are showing in the relationship? Just like you are planning that I am off today and I want to spend time with them, they too are busy beings and they too need to take out time to spend with you, isn't it? As I told you in my very initial slides, that this parenting is not one-way process. It's a two-way process. It's the child is also made responsible to cater to himself or herself, and the parent is also made responsible to fulfill the need and to be able to connect with the child. So if the child is sleeping and you overweigh your you are kind of excusing them, okay, you can do what you like and I'm not important, I can sit around and wait for you to get up. I don't know what message that gives. It just says that I'm not so important, isn't it? So if Sunday is the time, family time, and that your time is from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., that's how you go. You tell them 9 a.m. beta, we are going to have breakfast every Sunday. The whole family sits together. We have breakfast, no sleeping late. So be the parent. Okay, and if the wife is complaining that you are not giving enough time, then ask the wife when is the time that is available for both the family as well as you to be together. And since you are working and out of the house, you will, and she's probably working and the children are busy or whatever, you need to find common time. May it be once a week or twice a month, whatever, but that should be quality time spent together in just family time, in which you are not receiving calls from your boss or from your whoever others, and you're just there for them and tell them that I am here for you. Are you people happy with what you are hearing? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. So I will not take the questions now because I think we have already done an hour more. I mean, we're done with 1 hour. Mahin, how would you guide me? Should I go through the case studies questions or should we keep it for the next time?
Miss Asma, we can keep this question for the next time, but for now, Miss Sidra wants to consult with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think I have one new message as well, isn't it?
Yes.
There's a new message? No,
yes,
there
Miss
isn't.
Sidra, you may ask.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, Sidra.
आजकल पेरेंट्स इस तरह को नहीं समझ पा रहे. सो जो बच्चे हैं ना, ठीक है, जो वो बच्चे से इस तरफ फॉरवर्ड हो रहे हैं लाइक कि हम घर से भाग जाएं क्योंकि हमें समझा नहीं जा रहा. हमें लाइक आई ट्राई टू हेल्प दोज पीपल जो इस तरह की चीजों से गुजर रहे होते हैं बच्चे. मतलब मेरे सर्कल में जितने हैं, मैं कोशिश करती हूँ कि मैं जिस हद तक उनको समझा सकती हूँ समझाऊं. तो आई हैव रिसेंटली एक ऐसा केस है मेरे सामने जो लड़की घर से भागना चाह रही है ताकि वो अपनी बाकी की लाइफ अपने हिसाब से गुजार सके, जो उसकी चीजों को समझने में भी नहीं है. इवन दे स्टॉप देयर हर स्टडीज. सो क्या आप क्या गाइड करेंगी इस हवाले से कि क्या समझाना चाहिए उसको, लाइक ये चीज सही है कि हम अपने पेरेंट्स को इस तरीके से बिट्रे कर दें?
नहीं, देखें, ये बिल्कुल आपकी बात सही है, बट आई थिंक दैट इसके लिए पेरेंटल काउंसलिंग ज्यादा जरूरी है. आप बच्चे को काउंसिल कर रहे हैं, आप पेरेंटल, द कोज इज द पेरेंट, इजंट इट? पेरेंटिंग काउंसलिंग मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है. देखें जी, यहाँ पे जनरेशन गैप और कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आ गया है टेक्नोलॉजी का. यहाँ पे ये बच्चे जो हैं वो बहुत स्पीडी, बहुत फास्ट टेक्नोलॉजिकली चल रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, और वो बहुत जल्दी एहसास कर लेते हैं कि आई एम अ पर्सन. पुराने जमाने में हमें वो मौका ही नहीं मिलता था कि हम एहसास करें कि हम भी कोई चीज है, ठीक है ना. तो अब तो बच्चे को, क्योंकि फ्रेंड्स होते हैं, इनको इन्फ्लुएंस भी करते हैं फ्रेंड्स और बोलते भी हैं, तो देयर इज डेफिनेटली अ नीड फॉर, और शायद ये जल्दी महसूस करते कि मेरा भी कोई हक है, मेरा भी कोई एग्जिस्टेंस है. तो एज वी ऑलरेडी टॉक्ड इन दिस होल डिस्कशन कि यही तो पार्ट है. बच्चे को वो सेल्फ अवेयरनेस होगी, किसी को जल्दी हो रही है और किसी को लेट हो रही है, बट इट इज नॉट द चाइल्ड हु नीड्स टू बी काउंसल्ड, it's the parental counseling that's required. So though you have to morally make the child aware and ethically and morally you are doing what you are doing, ke ye to you know it's not right with the parents or whatever, but if the parents are unable to guide and to fulfill the requirements of the child's upbringing, don't you think that they will seek outside? हाँ
Yes,
सिद्रा,
ma'am, they
वो
are.
आप जाएंगे,
I
वो फ्रेंड से
I
बात
can
करेंगे, हाँ वो फ्रेंड्स है, तो आपने ये करना होगा कि आप एक मैच्योर साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास उनको रेफर करें, इनको कहें कि बेटा इट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम टू गो टू अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट। पहले वाले जो खतरात थे कि साइकोलॉजिस्ट मीन्स पागल लोग जाते हैं, वो साइकाइट्रिस्ट के पास जाते हैं, पागल जो हो जाते हैं ना, जिनको ट्रीटमेंट की जरूरत होती है, दैट नीड, बीमार हो जाते हैं, दे गो फॉर ट्रीटमेंट। बट काउंसलिंग आपका हक है, आपका न्यू चेंजिंग जनरेशन के साथ बेस्ट ये है कि एक तो आप काउंसलिंग पे जाए, दूसरा ये है कि आप उनको आमादा करें कि वो कन्फ्रंट करें। कन्फ्रंट का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि आप लड़ाई करें या आप रिबेल करें पेरेंट्स के साथ, लेकिन आप उनके साथ सामने बैठ के आप उनके साथ डिस्कशन करें कि आई एम नॉट happy and this is what my plan is, number 1. number 2, ऐसी फैमिलीज में अक्सर ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं फैमिली को, कोई खाला, कोई चाचा, कोई मामा, कोई काका, कोई ना कोई होता है जो फैमिली का गुडविल कैरी फॉरवर्ड करता है। वो दैट चाइल्ड शुड try to talk to that person and involve that person within the family dynamics। ये बाहर सोसाइटी में जाके अपने आप को इतने बड़े खतरे में डालने से तो बेहतर है कि आप एक्सटेंड करें योर प्रॉब्लम विद इन द फैमिली। कोई ना कोई एक तो होगा जो उनका भी अपना दोस्त है, वो जो पेरेंट्स से भी बात कर सके। सो आउटसाइडर से बात करने से पहले, बिफोर सीकिंग केयर आउटसाइड, ट्राई टू सीक who is inside the family जो है। तीसरा मैं आपको ये भी बता सकती हूँ कि you can tell the family to, or you can tell the child to take a holiday, to change environment and to go somewhere within a safe environment, relatives में, जहाँ पे यंग बच्चे हैं जो मोर ज्यादा क्या कहते हैं एडजस्टेड है टू लाइफ, एंड टू गो एंड टू स्पेंड टाइम इन अ पॉजिटिव एनवायरनमेंट that will kind of help to heal and to look at things in a more mature level। जब आप एंजाइटी में होते हैं तो आप अक्सर गलत डिसीजंस लेते हैं, और जब आप बाहर वालों से विदाउट नोइंग व्हाट इज द होल थिंग, यूजुअली यू एंड अप नॉट मेकिंग द राइट डिसीजन। तो इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट कि आप अपनी जो फ्रस्ट्रेशन है और जो स्ट्रेस है उनको आप कहीं जाके रिलीव करें बाय गोइंग टू अ फैमिली somewhere outside, or changing the environment, looking for an advocate within the family। But definitely way out of home is not the answer, but ultimately that could happen अगर इसको हल नहीं किया गया। Yes, the candidate asked in Urdu because of language barrier and she is answering her according to her ease as she knows this language। ठीक है, I hope that I have been able to explain। Sidra, does that satisfy you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Sidra, so best is don't try to give them answers to their lives, they have to look for their own answers। ठीक है, एज अ काउंसलर आपने जवाब नहीं देना कि क्या करना है, जवाब उन्हीं के पास है, उन्हीं का सिचुएशन है, आपने सिर्फ उनको सपोर्ट करना है और उनको गलत कदम उठाने से बचाना है। बट अगर नहीं मिला तो फिर something bad will happen, and we as all of us are here, we are trying to not to allow the bad to happen। Okay, yeah, any more questions please? Okay, thank you all very much, and I look forward people who are who want to ask questions can send more questions to Mahin or to me or whatever, and we will be addressing it in the next session. Our next session would be on purposeful parenting, and Mahin will send you the time and date for it. So kindly give me feedback if there is any. Did this help you to understand parenting a little bit better? All right. Okay, thank you and goodbye. Thank you for taking time out. Look forward to another meeting with you. Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Asma. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.